In this second video, we're going to talk about adjustable drill bits. First thing we'll do is take this apart. This is how you dial it back and forth here, turning that knob to move this back and forth. And then you'll tighten up this screw to set your width. Anyway, we'll take this thing and start our sharpening. So we've got our first cutting edge, and then this portion here is adjustable. So the difference between this and a regular auger bit, a regular auger bit has a couple of cutting knives here on the edge, screw, and then your cutting edge there. First thing we'll do is we're gonna sharpen this edge here. Now, an auger bit file is what you need for this job, if you're just using files. So you've got one side that has the cutting edges and stuff on it, and the other side's smooth. The edges are smooth. And then on the opposite end of the file, the edges have the filing surface, and then the flat side is smooth. You want to cut or file from this edge, and then just simply hone the top, so you don't change the profile. So I can see somebody sharpened this before and they really didn't know what they were doing. It's all rounded off. So I'll take this, and don't want to do it like you're brushing your teeth. Don't go back and forth and back and forth. You want to match your file to that, get in there as far as you can. And these old drill bits are not hard. They sharpen actually really quick. So we're just gonna sit here and notice I draw, lift, back up, draw, clear my chips. What you want to try to do is get a single facet going across your face. In other words, from here to there, to the cutting edge, all the way back to here. You can't see any variation. Now, doing this by hand, you have meat on your bones and your meat, your hands are gonna flex, so you tend to roll this a little bit, and that's okay. I mean, it just happens. If you want this perfectly flat, you need to put this in a vise and have other things in place, but to do it by hand, you know, we take this. One other trick I learned in the machine shop, I'll show you something right quick. Matter of fact, let's see. I learned this in the machine shop. They used to use a chemical called Dykem blue. You could color the entire surface, whatever color you want. And then you just sand, or file rather, until all that is gone. Color this again. Kind of lets me know what I'm doing. It's nice and good. Now I've got a little bit of a lip, start to roll up, not a whole lot. Now, if you have at your disposal a diamond hone or something like that, I would highly suggest using it. And you can use a diamond hone like a toothbrush. And you're not killing it here. And then you look. I can feel a little bit of lip there. Now I'm gonna flip this around. We'll flip it over. And I'm gonna take a fine file. And this is the way to do it, but you can't really see. So let's see if I can get this to where you can see. Now I'm going to take a super fine. Not a sponsor, I don't have any sponsors on this channel. And that, if pretty doggone sharp. And that's the other thing, is keeping your files clean. And then the next portion we have is this piece. So how do you sharpen that? Now notice the manufacturer has relief already cut in there. So this is going to be your chip breaker portion. So it goes across here. This will cut like so, and your chips will curl up around this edge. If you look at that, it's pretty banged up, gouged up. We're gonna have a bit of filing to do here. Maybe another portion for a fast forward video, but before I start that, we want to match the manufacturer edge and just try to take it down flat all the way across there. And you may see me mark with some black Sharpie or something like that, and then sand it down flat, matching the manufacturer's angle of attack. To sharpen the inside cutting edge, so that portion, really the only thing I know how to do besides using a Dremel tool, and you'd probably screw it up, I've got a few gouge sharpening stones. So if you look at the profile of them, tapered, non-tapered. These two may have been homemade. Got these garage sales. The woodworking supply that you buy your stuff from, they should have these. If not, you know, I think these may be called a gouge sharpening stone. So this is fine, coarse, whatnot. So basically, you'll put these up there, and you'll get them to the right angle, and you just go like that, and you kind of buff that edge off, and then you go to the next one and you buff that edge. Now be careful, because if you take and you go like that, then you've screwed your cutting edge up. So you just kind of work down the line. It'll take a little bit more than what I'm doing here, but you'll take and just sharpen this until it's as sharp as you can get it. And you know, if you can get a razor sharp, that's fine. But you can sit there and go and go and go on that, and then until you have it sharp. It's a pain in the butt. The last thing you're gonna do is your knife. So this part here cuts through before this blade ever gets to it, and this is what gives you a smooth hole. You don't want to take too much off this, so you keep this sharp, and you want to take this down at a rate that you can sustain this piece of steel, because if you keep sharpening and sharpening and sharpening, one day this is gone and then you're done. So you see the top of this right here. So if you ever get past this point, you're done with that drill bit. So you'll take and just, pretty hard to see it, but you just take and sharpen that a little bit with your file. on there. And again, I said I like using diamond holes and stuff like that. So whether you're using super fine or what, you just sharpen it from the inside, and it's like the Forstner bit. The very last thing you'll do is you'll fill this and just barely brush it, make sure there's no lip on here, and then now you have a cutting knife, and as it goes through, this will cut your wood first. And then what type of wood shall we cut? Probably something like Douglas fir, I think is what I would do. Doug fir from the Pacific Northwest, similar to eastern pine from the southern U.S., except not as much sap. When I took machine shop in college, my old machine shop teacher said when you chuck up a drill bit, you do it from all sides and you'll take up slack. And he was right, because I just had that tight and took up some more slack. I just took up a little more, go around and start at the other hole, do it again. You're not trying to kill it, but it'll just kind of gets cockeyed in there, or whatever you call it, I don't know. Anyway, we'll try this in a piece of plywood. Turn it on, and I would use these as a slower speed. They do. They do take quite a bit of torque, and I don't know how you could use that with a bit and brace. I mean, maybe you could, but it'd be like a right angle drill. Really, a drill press is safer, but it's got that feed screw in it. Now, if you got this razor sharp, hey, maybe, but you see the last little disc it cuts out, and that's how much it slices, how deep it slices before your drill bit comes in contact with it. So will they work? Yeah, they'll work. And if you have a backing board, then you don't get tear out on the backside. But is it my first choice? Heck no. But if you had a bunch of different hole sizes to make and didn't have the money, then, you know, and you wanted to mess around with it, you could. So, and I also did a couple trial cuts on this, so I was able to cut through. You can see how I just cut a little ways on this, and then I cut the other side. I was going to go all the way through it, but I bottomed out and hit that, and I said screw it, because once it hit this other hole here, it wanted to bind up on me. So plunging straight through, yes, you can do it. And but this particular drill bit right here, I would not buy one of these unless you had to. And then don't extend it too far out, because if you get it hanging way out there, it does not want to cut. And anyway, you can do it. I hope this video helped you, and you can help me by hitting that subscribe button or liking the video. Thank you.